Hello, hello, and welcome to the Music Pulse, the first edition of my show. If many of you out there got my post the other day explaining to you what I was going to do with the show, and I named the show My Show so that it gave the idea that basically I'm going to be doing the booking and the organization of getting the folks in that's going to be here and joining us. I want it to be a very eclectic, very well-rounded show that's going to include artists and many other people in the industry as we get going and flowing with this. You'll notice that the lower third here, we have my little banner, and the logos and the branding is showing up across the stream. So it'll be slow but sure, and we'll get ourselves all set up. Our first guest tonight is going to be Lisa Marshall, and she's a singer out of Austin, Texas, that many of you folks have already gotten to know through the net with her presentation. She's got a brand new album out, Stay Right Here, and a new video that she's going to be kicking off as well. So we're going to be getting her in the room here in a second. Let me go ahead and things are a little rough around the edges because I'm not used to doing this, so I'm doing exactly what my mentor, Mr. Steve Rainey, told me to do. Just do it. So we're getting out there and we're going to do that. Let me go ahead and see if I can pull Lisa into the room and say hi. Lisa, how are you tonight? Your audio is not with us.
All right, here we are.
There you are.
Took a minute. I couldn't hear you for a second.
Always going to be technical.
Hi, how you doing?
We're doing well. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for coming to see us.
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good. You've
Yeah,
been a busy,
this is excellent.
busy
I'm
lady
excited to
the
be
last,
doing this.
Good. You've been a busy lady the last few weeks. You kicked off a new video, Hold Me. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Hold Me is basically the first track off of my latest album called Stay Right Here. And I had a mutual friend who got me in touch with this gentleman named Rob Porta, who has a local band in town. But he's also went to New York for film school. That's where he's from. And so he's been trying to start this company called We Don't Suck Productions. That's going to be doing their focus will be music videos. So he offered to do about 4 free videos to local artists, and I got in, and we just said, I just kind of oddly enough let him kind of take over artistic control over it, because usually I'm a little bit of a control freak. I hate to say it because I'm not always right, which is really frustrating, but he did such a fantastic job. He had great ideas, and I was just like, cool, do what you want, let's go with it.
Very, very cool. Austin, Texas, a very busy little town, and very one of the hubs, I like to think, of the music industry. How's that been living there?
It's be quiet, Keaton. He commented on my control freakiness. I love living in Austin. I've bounced around from LA to San Francisco to Seattle, and it's one of the best moves I ever made. And all those moves were following music. And this is the first time, the past 4 years, that I've been playing music full time as a living.
Very cool. So it's working out. You're getting the gigs, and you're out there doing your thing.
Yeah, definitely got to hustle for them, but yeah, the gigs
in a town that has that kind of influence as far as being so busy and so music oriented, you find yourself out there really having to compete with the competition and button heads with some folks, or how's that work?
No, I don't really feel that way at all. I'm kind of fortunate because I do a very different genre. It's a kind of very small niche group here that does a lot of the early rhythm and blues, soul kind of vibe. So I'm lucky in that way. The only thing that I come up against is Texas is their this blues that comes out of Texas. It's excellent. Sometimes it's hard for me to get inside of those venues that kind of pride themselves on having that particular genre, because I'm not doing particularly Texas R&B or soul. I mean, the only label that really existed for that was out of Houston, Bronze Peacock label, and that's where you got like Barbara Lynn and Bobby Blue Bland first was on that label and such. So it's not really we cross over easily, I would say, because of the rhythm and especially the blues influence, but it's definitely a smaller niche group of people that do it here.
Right. Another question I've got for you is kind of interesting to me is that you've got like I said, one of the hubs of music, and every year you have South by Southwest that comes through, and that changes, I'm sure, from you being a local that lives there, and all of a sudden South by Southwest comes. How does that affect you?
Well, it affects, I'll have to say, the first couple of years that I was here, the first year that I actually played South by when I lived here, because I had played here when I was touring through, and I really didn't know anything about it, but it has grown exponentially. So a lot of the venues around here, what they do is they will keep their local bands. In other words, they may give some of their nights away to the people of South by, but they will usually keep a night or two dedicated only to the local music scene, which is really quite awesome of them, because I understand they get compensated very well for hosting official South by parties. So how that kind of affects me is that I do a lot of unofficial stuff. I don't really do official South by showcasing kinds of things. There's so much going on. It's really, I can't see how it is easily I can't see how myself and a lot of local artists who do all the unofficial stuff are easily exposed to the people they need to be exposed to, because all these people are coming in focused on their artist, trying to talk to other promoters and such to get their artists, moving on to the next level, as it were. So it's exciting, but it's also like, for instance, all the parking went up to $20 this past year, which is the first time that's happened. And a dropper when I like, what? It's $20 to park. Okay, I guess I won't be coming downtown next year.
Very cool. So have you gotten a chance because of South by? Has it given you any opportunities that you might not otherwise have, you think? Or is it just your local stuff going on?
I was just the local stuff going on.
So it's so busy that it just kind of washes it out in a big way, I would take it. But you still get a lot more exposure with people because you're doing your events.
Yeah, no, that is true. You will get exposure with people who are out of town that you probably won't have the opportunity with. But
very cool. All right, we've got our audio guys off scene. I want to make sure that you've got your sound good. Does her sound good on your side? We want to go ahead and let her play a song or two. Go ahead and type it in the text there, guys, so we know she's sounding good on your side. We're going to play with a little technical.
How's that? I just went into the studio. All right.
It sounds better. Go ahead. Play us a song.
I'm going to do a song called Hot Summer Day. This is my latest album. Well, don't you want to feel to stay? Double take us higher. Don't need to pass the spell when there's so little required. Of your mind is that your heart fall in love with one another. Well, it's time, yeah. Let your light shine through, hear voice run through the silence. Some days it's easier to imagine a world of peace and kindness. Oh, come on over. It's nice to see
our shining place in the sand. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I'm believing in who you are. You're full of all that's right. A gleam of hope to pierce the dark. Pull us all here together. Yeah. Let your light shine through. Yeah, your voice come through the silence. Some days it's easier to imagine a world of peace and kindness. Ooh, oh, come on over. It's nice to see you again. It's good to be here where you are, in our starting place in the sand. It was hard to feel it coming down like rain. Our summer day will find us singing how the only tone that matters anyway. Come on over. It's nice to see you again. It's good to be here where you are, in our shining place in the sand. Come on over. It's nice to see you again. Good to be here where you are, in our shining place in the sand. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You sound great.
Thank you.
I love your sound, very soulful sound. Your music. You put a lot of work into picking songs, I'm sure, and getting into the music that was going to go on the album. All this is your writing? You've written these songs?
Picked a lot of.
You're breaking up a little bit. Maybe come back out of the studio?
I go back and forth. It makes it kind of choppy.
Ah.
So I'm sorry. Please ask that a question again. It was breaking up a little.
The songs that you've got on the album, they're all songs that were written by you?
Correct. Yes.
Very cool. And you say that you've got a lot of soul background, your artists that you're interested in. Who are they?
Oh, so many. There's Jackie Moore, Aretha Franklin, Gladys Knight, Mavis Staples, Al Green, Marvin Gaye.
And the list goes on.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you instead of me trying to say it, because the passion that comes through with an artist and what they're into and the music that they do says a lot for what's going on with your music. So I'll let you tell me.
Yeah.
Here you go. You wrote that album. How long did it take you to put that album together?
Oh, it was a couple years culminated of writing songs. I was living in Seattle when I started writing a majority of the songs, and I didn't really have a band, a full-time band. I had these three ladies that deemed themselves the Dirty Girls that sing backups with me, and I just play guitar, and they sing three-part harmony kind of call and answer stuff, which is generally when I begin to write, it's the skeletal guitar, here's the melody, and then immediately here's the background vocals. I don't care about anything else. I don't know where the drums are going. But so it took a long time to I back up a little bit. I actually did an album on my own on GarageBand while I was in Seattle, my first album called Simple. And that had a little more kind of Delta bluesy influences. And even some psychedelic blues, kind of Curtis Mayfield kind of vibey thing on it. And I can Tina Turner, so I was just kind of drawing from all kinds of stuff. So it took me a while to write these other songs and really kind of bring them into fruition. And it wasn't until I got to Austin and played with the first band that came together that just really what they did to the songs was magic. So I was very fortunate in that way. Unfortunately, we didn't last as a band, but we had gone in and we had cut the basic tracks of this album, and I just kind of sat at home and finished it the best that I could with finishing the background vocals. I redid some of my guitar parts. I added some guitar parts, some string arrangements. I got a couple of horn players to come in, that kind of thing.
Very cool. It's got a great sound. You got another song for us? I want to keep the folks entertained that are watching this tonight.
Sure. I'm going to go back to studio mode, take Keaton's suggestion to just... it's going to be... All right, here we go.
There we go.
I think that I'm going to do... Yeah. Don't give up.
I'm pretty sure I think life is beautiful. Every story that's ever been told has some sorrow, well, and some joy. For every breakdown, this please don't give your hope away. It's building on this, and now other we will try. Please don't give your hope away, or the strength in numbers. Oh, yeah. Strength in numbers. Ooh, oh. Do you give when anyway? Despite all of you that might be afraid to reach out and give your hand for every letdown. Just only need to this you. Please don't you give your hope away. Still they know this, and now other we will shine. It's straight in numbers. Ooh, don't give in. Don't give up. Oh, yeah. Don't give in. No. Oh, ooh, oh, yeah. Don't you give your home away. Spill it. We will. Don't give up. Straight in. Oh.
Lisa, your sound's breaking up. Technical difficulties, but it sounds good. Most people, if you're listening out there and you understand the hangouts on air, we always have a tendency to have a little technical difficulties now and then. That being the case, I urge you to go out and get this lady's album. It's one of my favorites. It's on my rotation when I listen to it daily. So, and there's a reason for that. I don't usually get into people that aren't that good. There's a lot of my friends out there that are very good. So it's something I take pride in, is having a little bit of an ear and understanding music to the point where I know what's something to point out and say, hey, go get this.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to be in that category.
Yep. Well, you're in that category for a lot of people, I'm sure. Talking about your album, you spent a lot of time putting it together, and we know that the internet and what goes on in the world nowadays is so transient that you've always got to be reaching for the next thing. You've got music that you're writing now, and you're working on something else towards that direction?
Uh, writing new music? No,
Yeah.
that wasn't the question.
That was the question. I want to see if what you're working on for the next little push.
Yes, I am actually. Just started writing some new tunes. We just kind of worked out the arrangement with the band that I have currently, and which was fun because it's always fun to have like live bass and drummer to be like, "Hey, try this, do this. Oh, why don't we do this?" But it's called Day After Day, and it's really not. I don't think would be executed very well as an acoustic song because it's just a repetitive line over and over again. But what really kind of changes it is the bass line a little bit. But it's kind of that. It's very much in the vein of Curtis Mayfield. I just went through this phase of really loving those kind of simple, very like kind of bouncy, repetitive bass lines that we have with the congas in the background and kind of a simple drum beat, you know. And then his arrangements is what would change the entire song, not necessarily the basics, if that makes any sense. You know, like Superfly, it's the same thing, and then all of a sudden the horns come in, and then change up the entire. They start to give it a completely different feel.
Right.
So this is Day After Day is kind of that way. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, when you're doing your thing, you're listening on a daily basis to your music. Do you find yourself kind of reaching to try to find something new, or is that place that you go to when you start thinking about wanting to do the next album, do the next project?
That's a very good question. I mean, as far as finding new music, probably Spotify or Pandora, and it's generally. I don't listen too much while I'm working because I tend to get lost in the music, and I'll just kind of take a turn where I'm supposed to be getting stuff done. But a lot of times, like, you know, when I'm in the middle of like maybe crossing over from doing some booking stuff to getting things set up to sit down and actually practice a little bit, you know, plugging in the amp and stuff, I'll put it on and I'll just hit like Curtis Mayfield radio station. All of a sudden I'll hear, and I cannot think of this gentleman's name. There's Alice Russell, who I've known about for some years, but every time I find her new stuff, I'm always just like, wow, just completely blown away. She's out of the UK. There's another gentleman from Norway named Bernhoft. I believe that's his name. And he actually does stuff with a looping pedal that is just absolutely amazing. And his voice is amazing. His song arrangements. I just when I found him, I went on YouTube and just started watching video after video, like, whoa, what? Just having my mind blown over and over again. And then there was another gentleman from England who's actually coming to Austin, opening for Mumford & Sons. So my partner's really into Mumford & Sons, and he's opening. I was like, yeah, it's a great venue called Stubbs. It's probably one of the best sounding venues in Austin. It constantly has great sound.
I think I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, and it's outside, and just a very Austin-y kind of vibe, you know, open air and cool stage and great sound, and, you know, people standing around drinking Lone Star beer.
I was thinking about you and getting inspired when you start putting your hat on. You know you're going to start working for another album. Do you find yourself hitting that groove, or that's what you like when you did this last album? Did you just kind of put your hat on, or does it just kind of come over with you a song at a time, or how do you build it?
It happens so many different ways. It's really kind of interesting. You know, sometimes I can sit down and be in writing mode and turn out a song.
Right.
Sometimes I can sit down and think I'm in writing mode and hit nothing but frustration. You know, it could be as simple as I'm in the bathroom, blow drying my hair, and I start humming something, and I immediately grab my phone and record something. You know,
it's great. You don't want to forget it. Don't want to lose it. Yeah.
Exactly, and you can build on it later. You can use it somewhere else. Generally. Or it can be like I'm sitting down just playing this chord progression, or I've heard, you know, some old Betty Wright tune on Pandora that I've just completely inspired me. you know, or it happens so many different ways.
And it does for every artist. I think it's a different process. But that's what's kind of intrigues me to find out what it is that makes an individual tick. So you try to find some common denominator, but there never really is.
Not for me, there isn't. I've heard of people sitting down and trying to take time every day to write, and I have been trying that approach. But it's hard for me sometimes to let go of what I'm on. You know, like if I'm researching agents in Europe, I'm researching agents in Europe. You know, damn it.
That brings me to another subject in regards to the indie artist of today, and you definitely have your hat because you're working. You're a hard-working lady. You're out there doing it. You've been doing it for a number of years to a point where you've got your own little indie artist business going, and you have to wear every one of those hats and do all these things. It's an amazing thing. In fact, we were just talking before we came on the show, and I asked you what you were up to today. What was your answer to? What'd you do today?
I have been emailing music publishers and researching more booking agents in Europe. And I actually did hear back from one publishing agent who is looking for a song that's kind of got a What's Going On vibe by Marvin Gaye, which I'm like, well, I don't know. So I just sent him what I thought possibly, I don't know if it's really going to work for him, but then all of a sudden I was inspired, like, I should write a song or try to write a song as cool as What's Going On. That'll keep me busy for a while.
There you go. There you go. So that kind of leads you to other things as you're out there reaching out for people and people are requesting things and pushing on those little buttons. That's great. Yeah. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
I want to hear another song, but we're worried about our sound quality. What do you think? It's up to you. We're going on 30 minutes. I was going to try to do an hour, and I'm finding it hard to fill all the time. But if we've got another song, do you think you want to do that, or you want to go ahead and not because we're?
Either way, if we're having some sound issues.
Yeah, you just cut out again on me. I don't think we should. Well, Keaton says go for it because you know the guys in the back room back there wanting more.
Well, we'll give it a whirl and see what happens.
Why not? What the heck?
Yeah, I'm going to do this real quick. Doing this song because Simple, which is off my old album, because I'm playing my old beater guitar, and I actually wrote this song on this guitar on a ferry in Washington State when I used to have to commute via ferry. Sat in my car and I wrote this. Driving home, we found nothing wrong. I'm here to say love ain't blind. Being with you, it makes me strong, and we at the same time. We follow the stars alone till the edge of time. Oh, if we could. And it's something so simple, so good. No, I'm not looking back. There's nothing there left to see. Dreams are made in the here and now.
honesty is simple, so good. Ooh, oh, 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 hey, hey. Ooh, oh, oh, yeah, yeah. You know how I feel about you now, don't you? You are missing, ooh, oh yeah. Ooh, oh, yeah. You are missing, ooh, oh yeah. Oh, don't you believe in yourself? You've got the world at your feet. Anyone ever do you wrong? You hear that sound there? Behind me, oh yeah. It's follow the stars alone to the edge of time. Ooh, it's me good. Ooh, I'll say that now. It's so simple, so good. Yeah. I say, oh, it's so simple.
Yay! And the crowd goes crazy. That was a great case in point where we went with that, because we were just talking about where do you get the inspiration for the songs, and that was written on a ferry. You were sitting in your car as you were doing that one? That's
I
great.
was. I'd put the seat back and sit on top of the seat and play guitar.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, well, in the vein of the Music Pulse, my show, we're going to go ahead and just play it by ear with how we're putting this together. So what I want to do is I want to bring in Keaton and my team members, Mr. Brett Campbell over here, that have been hiding in the back room. As we get this going, we're going to end up pulling it together a lot more tighter and get better at this. So, again, we're a little rough around the edges. Thank God for the artists, because if we didn't have you here, Lisa, we would be just terrible.
Please.
Keaton, Brett, thank you for being here, you guys.
I'm going to take offense at that just terrible stuff, because I've just been sitting here in the background, man. You know, it's not my fault you stuck me behind stage.
Very true. We're gonna keep playing with it. I don't know how we're gonna format as it goes along, but I think we're gonna do a lot of this, just playing it by ear, and whatever comes at us comes at us. So.
Beautiful music, Lisa. I always enjoy it every time I get to catch you. And you're an inspiration to a lot of people out here, and thank you for sharing your talent and your love. We appreciate it.
I just now read your message over there, Brett, about lighters. I'm a little late in the game, but I got you.
Yeah, I was back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Lisa, yeah, you're an amazing artist, and I've told you that since it's been a while since the last time I heard you, or the first time I heard you, and I've been telling you since. I just love your music, and every time you get on a show, I'm watching it from the outside most of the time, and just really, really enjoy you and appreciate what you're doing. It's great.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate y'all. And Mark, thank you for this great opportunity and all your support. And Brett and Keaton, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and close this out and not try to pull a whole hour out of this. I thank everybody that's out there in internet land that's come in to join us tonight, and welcome you back next week as we pull in another guest. I don't know who that's going to be. Right now I'm working on several people, trying to get people that are in and around the music business that have things to talk about, that want to put themselves out there and join us in this great platform that we got. Brett, your music autism project that you got working, how's that going?
Going real well, Mark. We've had a lot of things happening in the last couple of days, and we're actually about to port the site over to a section of its own, and instead of just being a couple stacks of landing pages, and probably in 2 weeks we'll go ahead and buy a domain for it and actually make it its own separate site completely. The project's going great. Lots of support all over the internet, and that's really nice to be able to get the awareness out there and to increase folks' knowledge about autism, Asperger's, and the different facets of the disorder. It affects really, it affects 1 in 150 kids.
Wow.
And I mean, think about that. You know somebody with autism, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing, is to help increase awareness of that and how we treat and react to it, because we can cause so much harm by simply being ignorant. Somebody called me ignorant the other day. Hey, whoever wants to call me ignorant, that's fine. There's a lot I know nothing about, and that's all it means. You don't know anything about it. I'm glad to be called that when it applies, and I'm no longer completely ignorant of autism, and I had to thank some good friends on Google Plus for that, for opening my eyes and helping me to get involved with some really cool stuff. And I want to thank all the artists that are involved in it, and thank you and all the other people that have been helping support it too.
It was very cool. Thank you, Brett. All right, Lisa, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm going to say goodbye. This is Mark Farashi with my show from the Music Pulse, and it will get better. So I appreciate you guys coming to join us. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.